return with that exquisite mantra. So the first thing I want to say this morning is that the most important thing you can do for humanity is to practice being a conscious human being. If each of us take the time and the attention to be conscious in every moment, we shift the collective. And that's the most important thing we can do, because the shift in the collective changes the experience of this planet. We have a responsibility to be conscious. And because we have an interest in that, it's a natural place for us to put our attention and intention. So today we're going to talk a little bit about mantras. I know we've spoken about this before, but Siddhi and I would like to bring it up again because of the primacy of chanting in our spiritual discipline and our spiritual journey. So mantra, mana, man or mana is the mind, and tra is to protect or to cross over or to liberate. So the story in mantras have come from Vedic tradition, and in the stories that accompany the evolution of mantras or the creation of mantras, it's said that the mantras were heard in nature by the rishis, the wise men, and I hopefully will believe there were a few women, but I don't know if there were at that time. They speak to it as men, that were living in the caves and living in the Himalayas, and that they literally heard the sounds from nature. They were given to them as a gift from the universe, and they memorized them and passed them on orally for thousands of years. So it's interesting, in our English language, it's an estimated about 800 to 1,000 new words are added to the English language every year, to the English dictionary every year. And of course, there are all of the words in the vernacular of Instagram and texting and whatnot that aren't even a part of that. But we are constantly updating and adding in nuances to our language. However, Sanskrit has never changed from its original form, and that it was held as an oral tradition for so long, where it was taught to be nuanced in a certain way, to be pronounced in a certain way, enunciated in a certain way. That has not changed, because Sanskrit is a tonal language. It's a language of sound. So the sound reverberates in a certain way in your system so that you have a certain response or a certain collectiveness inside of you that happens when you chant and when you hear a mantra. The meaning of the words have been given meaning and description only because our minds require that. Our intellect wants to know, well, what does it mean? I can't chant it if I don't know what it means. So we have, over the ages, and the wise men have given meager words, but words to it to try to explain so we can, in a mind sense, understand. But the real value and usefulness of mantras does not come from the definition or the words that you can use to translate. It comes from the tone and the sound and the seed sounds that are in the words, which are known to be the seed sounds of creation. So when we recite and chant them, we are creating a sense of the universal creation within ourselves, which is where we want to return as much as possible. We want to be in a creative environment in our internal nature. We were speaking to that in the check-in time this morning, that when there's spaciousness and we take a walk or we take an activity that doesn't have any sort of usefulness in terms of checking something off our list, it's just that we want to go do it, that the spaciousness of doing that without an intention of it having to be something, just letting it be, that all of a sudden creativity spurs up. All of a sudden we have aha moments because we left the opening for those moments. In the busyness of our lives, there's not an opening for aha. Aha can't come if it's just too busy. You're on to the next thing. How are we structuring our lives to have enough aha moments about life, about ourselves, about our relationships, about the universe, about our role, our purpose, our calling? What are we here to do? It's not a checklist. It's something that creatively surges through us when we create the ambiance and the conditions for that to be true. So mantras being a gift from the mother, a gift from the universe, we would approach a mantra with deep respect, as though you are reciting, and in many cases, we actually call them prayers. So we're reciting prayers. If you were in a church or a temple or a synagogue or wherever, and you're repeating prayers, you're very reverent about that. It's not a casual interaction. And so when we chant our mantras, we chant them with the understanding that there is divine influence and divine contribution into that mantra, and that for us to hold it in that way intensifies the bonus of it. What is it bringing to us if we hold it in the understanding that we have a certain reverence for it and that it has a deep sacredness to it? Then we respond differently, we interact differently with it. So in Hinduism, time is not linear. It's in cycles. Everything happens in a cycles, the days and nights, the seasons, the moons, the years. And because it is in cycles, there's a certain repetitiveness to it, which lines up with the repetitiveness of mantras. We repeat them. Traditionally, you would repeat a mantra 108 times. So there is a certain collaboration with the universe in the way that we approach and the way that we utilize a mantra. So in the Hindu understanding of time, there are actually cycles of creation that have been divided into 4 different divisions. They're called yugas. And each one of these yugas has a specific time frame, a definitive purpose, and certain characteristics and attributes that are associated with it. So the first of these, and these are timelines that are way outside of our understanding of time, like 1 million years. It has nothing to do with like a cycle, a quick cycle. It's a very esoteric cycle with the years as we in an embodied form would relate to that, because we don't relate to millions of years. We relate to 100 years, maybe less. So the first and the most enlightened and conscious stage of these 4 is called Satya Yuga, which is the Yuga of truth. It's also sometimes called Krita Yuga, and it's the Yuga that is the divine perception of truth, the knowingness. It's the most conscious and enlightened of the 4. And as we move through the 4 different timelines and yugas, the second is Tretya, which is just slightly more degraded. So each of these 4, as we go through them, there's a degradation of consciousness. And so the third is Dwapara Yuga, and the 4th is Kali Yuga. We are in the time of Kali Yuga, which is the most deprived of the 4 stages. But because it's a cycle, we know that the next one coming will be Satya, truth. So we're on the precipice of that. We are doing the healing and the deep work that has to be done in order for this cycle to continue. So we're here at a very auspicious time, not an easy time, but a very auspicious time. And so that even gives us more reason why we should be particularly thoughtful about how it is that we are tuning ourselves and offering ourselves into the world. You may recognize the name Kali as one of the goddesses, one of the Hindu goddesses. In Sanskrit, her name means she who is black or she who is death. So the death of this cycle in the yugas is the one that then gives birth to the enlightened phase and stage. In Hinduism, Kali is the goddess of time. She's also the goddess of doomsday. So this era, as we have been looking at it for thousands of years and have been teaching to it, is that this is a dark time for humanity. Kali wears a necklace of skulls around her neck. She's fierce, and she cuts through all of the BS and gets to truth, because we're headed towards truth, Satya. That's where we're going. So she keeps reminding us, cut through what's unnecessary. Get rid of what's not necessary in your life. Let go of the pieces that are encumbering you, that are not truth of who you are in your eternal nature. This is a very powerful, powerful time to be in this cycle of yugas. Wisdom has taught us that during this time, of Kali Yuga, that one of the most important and most useful, beneficial practices we can do is chanting. One of the really famous women spiritual teachers who I love, Amma, the hugging Ma, you might have heard of her. She has hugged like several million people. She's from Kerala, South India, but she travels around the world. Amma, beautiful woman. She teaches very specifically about chanting being one of the releases, one of the power places for us to be in this age. But every spiritual teacher that you would work with or you read about, almost all of them, I can't think of anyone who doesn't, they utilize and they incorporate a mantra and sound into their disciplines and their practices. So this is a very common use of a tool, but specifically at this time, because the mantra reminds us about the forgotten eternal nature that we have. We know we are eternal in maybe our mindset we can understand, but we have forgotten that in how we live out our lives. And the repetition of a mantra allows us to go really deep. There's something about repeating the same tone over and over and over that pulls you into the center of who you are, the center of your eternal nature. So Siddhi and I have felt that with the collective consciousness of the Sangha, how awake and how alert and how willing we are in this Sangha, that it would be really lovely at this time in this universe that we're living in with all that's going on externally, that we could take the opportunity to harness this consciousness and power and use it not only for ourselves, but to send it into the world. So we've chosen, Siddhi and I have chosen a mantra that we would like to use as our community mantra, because it represents the qualities and the attributes that we wish to embody and to imbue into our Sangha. So you may choose to use this mantra. If you don't have a mantra, you might choose to take this one up. You might not. You may simply use this as the mantra that connects you to our Sangha. And what we are challenging you to do is to take this mantra up for the next 40 days. It's literally a 6-minute practice. So it's not going to add too much to your day, but to take it up and try it on and to root yourself in it so that when we come back on our Saturdays and we take our 6 minutes to chant it and to collect ourselves together so that we can send the intention of this mantra into the world, you'll feel more connected to it. So I've added it to our Spotify playlist for the Fragrance of Joy, which I will post on our chat section in case you are on Spotify. We have a recording that we're going to chant with today. However, you can chant, I don't chant to music, I just chant with mala beads. You can chant in silence with nothing happening, it's just happening in your mind. You can chant orally, you can chant along with a song, a recorded song that goes for 108 repetitions or 54 repetitions. And you can choose what sound you want to sit with while you're chanting this mantra. And it may be silence that you want with it. It's very personal. However, I will post the link to our Spotify Fragrance of Joy playlist, which is including this. So the chant and mantra that Siddhi and I have chosen is the Om Mani Padme Hum. And that is the compassion. It's known as the compassion mantra, or the jewel in the lotus. This is a very powerful, some say it's one of the first mantras, Buddhist mantras or prayers that was taught, that was brought into their knowingness. And it's used to train the mind to achieve ultimate peace and enjoyment, which is why we're here. So I think that it's a beautiful Buddhist mantra. It happens to be the mantra that the Dalai Lama uses. It's his personal mantra. So today we're going to chant it for 108 times, the 6 minutes. Siddhi's going to help us with that. And I'm going to post it right now, the meaning of it, the pronunciation, and the link, so that you might be able to connect to our Spotify. Here it is, our Spotify playlist, if you would like. And I'm going to turn it over to Siddhi. I'm just going to say that take an opportunity to include something in your life that is both collective and individual in your growth. It's really powerful. Really powerful.
Nirmala, I thought it would be nice if you just go shortly into the explanation. So for people, if they can't read like I am, it's so far away for me, so that they, if you go into the pronunciation and just the short meaning.
Okay. So the pronunciation is Om and then Mani Padme. Om, H-U-M. It sounds, when you're hearing it chanted, it sounds like Om again, but it's actually H-U-M, Hum. And it is known as the compassionate mantra, or the specific description of it or translation of it is the jewel in the lotus. And this is because we are taught in the spiritual circles that the lotus is a beautiful symbol of being able to survive through anything. Lotuses can grow in the mud, they grow in dirt, they grow with very little support. And so the notion that we can come from nothing or from situations that are challenging or conditions that are challenging and still have the opportunity to blossom. And that it's our birthright to blossom into this peace and enjoyment and beauty that the lotus brings. So it's the jewel. We have this is our birthright. If we don't claim this, no one's going to hand this to us. We have to work in accordance with it so that we can experience the birthright, which is ours. Is that enough, Siddhi?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Maria. When we picked this mantra, I was so reminded when I visited Bhutan. You hear this mantra everywhere, and you see all these really old people walking around the temple and reciting probably 100,000 times non-stop. They're just going around and around. And it's so beautiful to be present to the devotion and to have the knowledge what they are doing is really overriding the existing programs in their mind. So they're really becoming one with this mantra. That's why I think 108 repetitions is great. And I also like to invite you to play it in your house. And it could be very low, but you come in and you hear the mantra in between. You just listen to it. So, and you can even sleep with it, so that it totally infuses you. I think that would be a great idea. With the mala, I just want to point something out, because often in the Western world, I see people going with the mala like this. So that, they just take the thumb and go over the mala. That's actually not what you do. Yeah, you don't have the thumb. You take your middle finger, your index finger, your pointer finger is extended, and you use the ether finger to move the beads. So I just wanted to point that out, because often that's misunderstood in the Western world. So if you use a mala and you don't, because you don't want to have any music and you want to go to 108, just use your middle finger to move them. Okay, I want to take up what Nirmala says. We have the body, we take the body everywhere. So right now we take the body coming standing up. And then we will be in touch with our body this morning. Will be very easy, smooth. We just thought it would be nice, for us to move a little bit. And then also after the mantra this morning, I want us to be in silence. Yeah, because I think what we said in the check-in, sitting in the nothingness, and especially after mantra, that's what I do in the morning. I do my long chants and then I just sit in silence, doing nothing. And I think that's the most relaxing part, actually. Good, I want to stimulate this morning all our meridians. So we have one meridian going all the way in front of our body, and then one all the way in the back of our body. And these two are actually the controller. These are the manager of the other 6 that go into our hands and into our legs, all the way into our toes. These energy pathways are connecting all the organs within us. So they play a vital role for our well-being. Sometimes, and today I will speak about the stomach and the cleanse, you can't really get into the stomach or take parts out or unblock it. Yeah, but you can unblock the meridian, and through that you can get into the stomach. So they are like access points for me. So and it's a beautiful way to be in touch with ourselves, with our body. As Nirmala said, we take it everywhere. It's really sticking to us, so to speak, while we're here. So we bring our hands below our belly button, and we just nicely cup our hands. And then I like for us on the inhalation to sweep with our hands over our tummy, over our chest. We come up to our thymus gland, and then I take my right hand and I sweep over to the left shoulder. I exhale when I slowly sweep down on the inside of my left arm and my left palm. I turn my left palm down and I start to inhale, sweeping up on my left arm. And I allow myself to feel being in touch with myself. When I come to the thymus gland here in front, I start to switch my hands. My left hand comes over to the right shoulder. I sweep down on the inside of my right arm. And then when I turn my right palm down, I inhale and I sweep up. I come back to my chest. I sweep down. I feel all the rounding in my body, and I just stay for a moment below my belly button, my Hara center, where everything comes together, all the nerves. Now inhale back up, sweep up. Slowly go over with your right hand to the left. Sweep gently, lovingly down on the inside of your left arm. And when have you done that lately? And then you sweep up. And you put creams on it and lotion, but really being in love, touching the body like as if it's our lover. We switch over to the right. And ultimately, this is the lover for life. Yeah, we think about it. That lover doesn't, leave, so to speak, to the last breath. And then we come back up, touching our chest. We're going down and just warming them up. So take a deep breath here. One more round. Inhale up. And especially send love to the parts of your body you're normally judging a little bit. Exhaling left. Inhaling up. Crossing over. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And then exhale all the way down to your Hara. Good. We will do 3 more rounds, but now we are including the head because some meridians go all the way into our head, and we incorporating the meridians that go into our feet. So we inhale up, but now we go over our throat, our face, to the top of our head, and then I slide my hands on the back of my head, around my ears, to my neck. And then from here, I sweep my hands under my armpits, out to the side of my body, down to my kidneys, my buttocks. I go all the way down. on the back of my legs. And then I come to my feet. I make sure I touch all toes for a moment. And then I sweep up on the inside of my legs. Liver meridian, stomach meridian, everything just gets touched right now. And then I come back to my hara. Take a breath here. We do 2 more rounds. Inhale up. Deep inhalation over your face, the top of your head, behind your ears. Start to exhale here. And then you sweep over your sweet little kidneys, down your buttocks, the hamstrings, the back of your knees, the lower legs. And then come to the top of your feet. Take a breath here. Inhale, sweep up on the inside. Good. We rest our hands here. And last round. Really enjoy your body. It is perfect in its imperfection. Over your head. Sweep behind your ears and to the side of your neck. Down to the side of your body. That's where your gallbladder meridian is at home. Down. It's also a nice stretch for the back. You can always bend your knees if it's too much. Rest your hands on your feet for a moment. Inhale, come back up. Rest your hands on your hara. Now for those that can, I want the inside of your feet touching. So this automatically will challenge your balance center. Yeah, if that feels too wobbly for you, you have your feet slightly apart. We bring our arms up and we hold on to our right wrist. Right palm is facing forward and you're leaning over to your left. And just stay here. Deep breathing. So we slowly come up, we switch our hands. Left palm is facing forward, going over to the right. Coming to the center, last movement, interlacing all our fingers. We step our feet a little further apart, palms facing up, arms hugging the ears. You just lean forward as much as you can, tuck your chin. You want to really get into the back meridian. You can reach the floor, fine. If not, it's fine too. Do deep breath here. Bend your knees if need be. Good, and then all of us, please bend your knees when you roll up each vertebra at a time. Rest your hands back below your belly button onto your hara region. 3 deep breaths. Inhale, nose, exhale, open mouth. Good, and then we open our eyes and we come sitting for our mantra. So you can have your palms facing upward, the back of your hands touching your knees. You can go into the lotus mudra, whatever hand position really soothes you. And we are closing our eyes.
Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Padme Hum, Mani Padme
And bringing our hands into prayer pose. And this morning, I invite us really to spread the fragrance of peace, especially to the people in Ukraine and Russia, in all places where there's fighting, disagreement, hatred. And that we send this fragrance from the center of our heart out into the world. Inhale deeply. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for joining. Have a beautiful weekend, great week. See you next time. Breaking news. Good.